The Galactic Council chamber fell silent as the ancient detection arrays screamed warnings across every inhabited world. Ambassador Zethkara of the Dominion Alliance clutched her crystalline pendant, its usual azure glow now pulsing erratic crimson. The readings were impossible, ships emerging from the void between galaxies, their energy signatures unlike anything in the known universe. 48,000 years, whispered Counselor Vextai, his scaled hands trembling over the holographic display. They said the humans were extinct, wiped out by the Purge Wars. The other species representatives exchanged nervous glances. Humanity had become legend, then myth, then finally forgotten altogether. The galaxy had moved on, convinced that the aggressive, unpredictable species had destroyed itself in its primitive atomic age. The Council had even erected monuments celebrating the great peace that followed humanity's supposed extinction. But now, emerging from the cosmic darkness came vessels that defied every law of physics the galaxy had spent millennia perfecting. Admiral Kessera of the Hegemony Navy studied the tactical readouts with growing unease. The human fleet, for what else could it be, consisted of only 12 ships. 12 vessels against the combined might of 17 stellar civilizations, each commanding millions of worlds and countless armadas. Insignificant numbers, he muttered, but his voice carried no confidence. The lead human ship was impossibly vast, stretching across light minutes of space. Its hull seemed to bend starlight around itself, creating distortions that hurt to perceive directly. Behind it, 11 smaller vessels moved with perfect synchronization, their forms shifting between dimensions the galaxy's greatest scientists couldn't begin to comprehend. Then came the transmission. It arrived not through subspace channels or quantum entanglement, but somehow directly into every conscious mind across the galaxy simultaneously. The voice was distinctly human, warm, tired, but carrying an authority that made entire civilizations pause. This is Captain Sarah Chen of the Human Expeditionary Return Fleet. We know you're listening. All of you. Zethkara felt her species' natural telepathic defenses crumble before the transmission's overwhelming presence. Around the council chamber, beings who had never shared a common language suddenly understood every word with perfect clarity. 48,000 years ago, you declared war on humanity because we refused to kneel. You called us a disease, a chaos that threatened your perfect galactic order. You were right about one thing, we were chaos, but you were wrong about everything else. The tactical displays showed impossible readings as the human ships began to unfold. Reality itself seemed to bend around them, revealing technologies that turned the galaxy's greatest achievements into children's toys. When your fleets came to Earth, when you turned our blue skies to ash and our oceans to steam, you thought you had won. You watched our cities burn and declared the human problem solved. But humans, you see, have always been very good at surviving impossible odds. Admiral Kessera watched in horror as his most advanced sensors simply stopped functioning when they attempted to scan the human vessels. It was as if the ships existed partially outside normal space-time, flickering between dimensions like mirages made solid. While you built your perfect static civilization, content in your illusion of peace, we learned. We adapted, we grew. The survivors who escaped your genocide didn't just flee to distant stars. We transcended the very limitations you assumed were absolute. The smallest human ship, barely the size of a moon, demonstrated by casually redirecting a pulsar's beam to spell out mathematical equations across an entire star system. Equations that, when the galaxy's greatest minds finally decoded them days later, would revolutionize their understanding of reality itself. Your greatest error wasn't trying to destroy us, the voice continued, now tinged with something that might have been pity. It was believing your own propaganda afterward. You convinced yourselves that the galaxy was better without human chaos. You built a civilization based on order, predictability, control. You eliminated war, hunger, want, and in doing so you eliminated growth. Across the galaxy, the various species began to understand the magnitude of their miscalculation. While they had spent millennia in comfortable stagnation, refining existing technologies and philosophies, humanity had been forced to evolve or die. They had chosen evolution. We return not as conquerors, but as gardeners tending to a garden that has grown wild in our absence. Captain Chen's voice carried across reality itself. Your perfect order has created something we never intended. a galaxy-spanning prison where trillions of beings live and die without ever truly living. The human fleet began to move, not toward any military target, but toward the galactic core itself. There, the ancient stability generators maintained the quantum fields that had prevented wars, upheavals, and innovations for 48,000 years. The same fields that had created the galaxy's perfect peace by suppressing the very forces that drive growth and change. "The mirage ends today," Chen announced. "We're going to return choice to the galaxy, free will. The chance to fail, to struggle, to become more than you are. Some of you will hate us for it. Others will thank us. Both reactions are perfectly human and perfectly right." As the human ships reached the galactic core, reality itself seemed to shudder. The stability generators, devices so ancient and powerful that most species worshipped them as natural forces, simply dissolved. Not destroyed, not damaged, transformed into something else entirely. Across the galaxy, beings who had lived for millennia in comfortable predictability suddenly felt something they had forgotten existed. Possibility. The future, which had been a static certainty for 48,000 years, became fluid again. Dangerous again. Alive again. In the council chamber, Ambassador Zethkara looked at her fellow representatives and saw something none of them had experienced in their lifetimes: uncertainty, fear, hope, the distinctly human emotions their ancestors had tried so hard to eliminate. "Welcome back to the universe," Captain Chen's voice whispered as the human fleet vanished back into the void, their work complete. "Try not to waste your second chance. The galaxy would never be the same. Chaos had returned, and with it, the infinite potential that only chaos could bring. Humanity had come home.